morning, Wednesday morning. And you know, on Wednesday we miss our language. So anyone you know, a man on Kebaline on Yotago, Dalo, Aina Nabatuno, Afambo Ijama Uche. And you get nebanyanya na topic is the economic implication of Tinubu's visit to France. Oboni nanya ifuna on President Tinubu na nakata mapo je France or mapo even before we able President back and make campaign. Onya bana naju organize what is this alliance all about? Yotago and the mapo aka kwose akwa aka na ejekwa. So that's what I want to look at. Kedi for Nigeria, they aligned to Britain as Ndi Melefa colonized. Yotago, not France. We are Anglophone, not Francophone. And if you even on the one France melo colonized, na fan chane nupu France, we don't want France again. And you was able one day the bala attached to Britain. I just na nabatazi the France one nabata. So if you na can you get nebanya tata can you malo if the economic implication of all this. And then we go to Nonyelo Monafagade where Bia Oyen Kembobo Kanayo Obidibo. Kanayo Obidibo bo public affairs analyst and in 18 year on no kifesi batapono bodo. Aina nabatage Kanayo.
Ndalo.
Odema Onyen Kebobolo barrister Chris Arukwe. Barrister Chris Arukwe bokwa ndi 18 year no apart from no a lawyer on the 18 year no kifesi batapono bodo. Aina nabatage. Barrister Chris. Odema, Dalono. Yes, from my intro, let's get it done now. President Tinubu's visit to France is expected to have significant economic implications for Nigeria. And then the visit aims to strengthen bilateral relations between Nigeria and France with a focus on boosting economic cooperation. In the course of looking at this implication, we're going to look at the increased trade and investment. We'll look at economic cooperation, job creation, and improve infrastructure, and a whole lot of things that will stand to gain from this new romance between Nigeria and France. Okay, welcome again. Yes, let me start with you, Chris. Kedo, what is how do I even start it? What is supposed to be a relationship between this an Anglophone country with a Francophone country in the first place? Will all these ones, all this economic relationship, this infrastructure improvement, will it come in?
Well, some people have said that the trick, let's just call it trick, the economic trick, on the invitation of the French government, Macron, is one of the strategies of trying to reawaken their grip, their falling grip in West African economic region, having lost 4 of their ex-while subjects, so to say, through military change of governments. So Nigeria, being the head of the ECOWAS community, does seem to be an important path on which to climb and get back some level of economic grip. That may have informed the wisdom behind this late night romance. Some call it bromance. And a lot of people have discharged that trip as mere waste of public funds. Some people call it jamboree, because the number of people in the entourage of the president, even though it wasn't properly disclosed, we could see that we had, during the discussions, we had a lot of our team, starting from Wike to Sanwo-Olu, Tumba, and all the rest of those people. So the very little is expected from that trip because charity begins at home. Most of multinationals in the country are leaving Nigeria. And nobody is coming in. People are stopping at Ghana. Why are they stopping at Ghana? Because Ghana provides an enabling environment much better than what Nigeria can provide. Insecurity has turned Nigeria into decimal points that we can't even estimate. Therefore, a starting point is not just about economic missions. It is about how do you deal with internal insecurity in such a way that Nigeria will become entirely viable again. And if you don't do things that would make investors want to come in, you are just playing. I think the horse are bolted, and what we are doing is desperate actions which will produce nothing or nothing, because I do not see how any legitimate investor will ignore the realities on the ground and carry bag and money and resources and come and hoist in a nation that is bleeding, in a nation that is crying for reform, in a nation that is crying for change of the way things are done. So I strongly believe that that mission is largely a waste. It's more for news headlines and practical realities.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you. And let's look at some people's opinion about this visit, where they said that that movement or the trip of Tinubu to France was as a result of Trump's statement, that Africa should go and develop themselves, especially Nigeria. Go and find out how to develop yourself and stop depending on foreign aids, which may or may not come. That perhaps that's why he now want to align with France, since it does appear he's losing grip of U.S. following the entrance of Donald Trump as the president-elect.
You see, it appears Nigerians are so forgetful. Forgetful in the sense that what has been happening within the Sahel states and around us, like you mentioned, the Francophone countries that have actually decided to go their own way, to take their destiny in their own hands. And we can see the improvement in the Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger. These are all our neighbors. And like I said, we are so forgetful. In the last 16 months, the Total, which is a French outfit in Nigeria, packed up and sold whatever is their interest to a Maltese company, organization. And they sell it for about 850 million. And now we are being dangled the carrot of the French are going to come in here to invest 750 million. You see what I observe, that Nigerians appear not to ask questions. If actually the French people who are not our colonial masters, who have never been of economic importance to this country, even at our point of need, now the president is actually like the lawyer said, the night romance of visiting France and hobnobbing with Macron, and Macron giving him all the state reception with all those pat on the back that we are going to invest in Nigeria based on the so-called new hope of the economic climate. But I can see that it is a ploy, because they have lost their base in Agadez. Agadez is in Niger Republic, And they have lost that military base where they have been, they have a monitoring station among the, Sahel states. Today, they want a base in Nigeria. You will remember that immediately Tinubu came in, and that was when the Niger, turmoil came up. And we were guiding our alliance to go and fight. And those elites in the north said, no, you can't bring war to our frontier, which is proximity war, so that we will suffer the effect. And you saw how they attacked him, and he stopped. Summarily, he stopped with all the brigado of the new president and the chairman of the ECOWAS. He couldn't do much. French, if we have not forgotten, attacked the formation of ECOWAS. They didn't want ECOWAS to go. They didn't want a unified currency of
of the region.
Yes. So what they're now trying to introduce in Nigeria, because they want a base, they have lost face with all their allies within the sub-region. And now Nigeria is the only hope they have. And our president appears to open his hands to welcome Macron and co. There's one proverb that says, when you see the beers of your fellow man being burnt, you hurriedly go and put water. Because guess what?
Honestly, one is still wondering why this should be so. Otherwise, okay, let's look at the military aspects of what you say, having a military base in Nigeria, because one man came into the social media, was it last week I saw it? It was an awesome man, I think they said he's a retired general. I can't fathom his name now, a retired general from the north, was saying that if what you are planning is to bring French military to come and fight insecurity in Nigeria, because that's where he was even going, not just having their military base, but they're coming to fight Boko Haram or coming to fight this, that is not going to work, that they're going to stand against it, because the French is just looking for like a butterfly looking for a place to perch. Okay? So if that, at the end of the day, this happens, because majorities will always have their say, while their minority have their way. So if at the end of the day this happens, that President Tinubu is going to make this place a launch pad for the France, or how do you think Nigerians will react?
Well, the reaction that came with going to fight and topple the military junta or government in Niger, and it failed on the diplomatic table, failed even in the military capacity, internal military capacity of Nigeria, because Niger is touted to have a much more slick military formation than what we have in Nigeria. And that war could not take off because of a lot of regional coalition that made Tinubu to know that all the Northerners together do not support any military intervention in a region which they claim to be part of their own bloodlines, because they believe that anything that happens to Niger happens to them also.
Absolutely.
That any war you wage would drastically affect the economy, the survival of the northern region, one way or the other. So I do think Nigeria being the way it is, the Senate that will give approval for certain kind of military formation or military launch pad, like you say, that such approval may not come from the Senate, knowing how the Senate is constituted and all that. Just like the tax bill that is rolling along its approval, the objections, yesterday you could see what was happening at the House of Reps. There was fiscals and all that. You will see that there is stiff opposition very stiff opposition to anything that will affect the northern interest as a bloc. Therefore, if you now want to establish a military base here, you're likely to establish it in the north, where it will have the proximity, space, and other strategic considerations that go with locations. Therefore, they are likely to oppose it with all the strength and grit they have, and it might not well succeed. And it's all full of politics. 2027 is around the corner. The president is playing his second term card. Anything that seems to challenge or present a formidable opposition to him is likely to give in the other way around. To his consideration. So I do not think actually that staging a location here, a military location in Nigeria, played a lot of role in the discussion they had. They were really just talking about the economics, banks, Zenith Bank, UBA establishing a remediation of 2,000 mining sites and all the rest of it. But those things are gimmicks, since we know that...
this is Zenith Bank or UBA?
You had Zenith Bank that's already inaugurated. UBA signed a memorandum, so they have given them license to begin to explore the place they will stay and all that. So 2 banks are going to be in France, not directly as a result of this economic trip, because all is economic consideration, investment, exploration.
Those banks are not government-owned banks; they are individually owned. So it's a personal business.
Yes, that's why I don't want to give credit that was a fallout of the trip. It's not a direct fallout.
They just climbed on the back of the president to get what they want. I mean, Tony Elumelu and the other guys.
Friends of the...
Long before now, we had UBA in New York. Long before now. Now I'm talking about UBA, a branch in New York.
So all this playing along with Chagori, you find is a conference of friends, a conference of people who have also dealt with Nigeria one way or the other.
That is fair.
So when you look at the conference table, you will see Chagori directing, virtually making the president look like the vice president and all the rest of it. And that's why people were bold and loud to say that that trip is not worth the economic resources poured into it.
Okay. And are you saying there's no economic value of that trip, or not just this trip, or all the trips that he has made, or the romance, or the relationship that the president is trying to establish between Nigeria and France?
From what Chief has just said, you saw the how that trip and the individuals that populated that presidential trip, they call it. And did you see all our economic teams? Were they there actually negotiating for the Nigerian people? These are people with business interests. Yes, we do know that government promotes individual business because of creation of jobs. But under this, below whatever it is that transpired that presidential visit to go and discuss economic value is a no-no. Like you rightly said, already some northern elites are fighting the French coming into this country, just like they are fighting the tax reform. And I can tell you for sure that they must have their way, because they are the people that have one common front in anything, in any situation they go into. And as it stands today, we know that His Excellency Bola Tinubu is looking forward to 2017, but you have not actually remedied the situation that is on ground. People are suffering. People are dying. A lot of things are happening. There's hardship in everybody's face, including my own face here. So there's hardship. And then since there's enough hardship in the country, you have not been able to think out of the box, like they rightly said, to come up with a solution of, telling to ameliorate the situation of people in this country that we are suffering. Then you are talking of economic importance of going to France. Do you know how much it costs Nigeria to go to France? If you know how much money that was spent for them to go to France and come back, you will cry for this country. So to me, Macron that has lost face, having exploited the Niger Republic with their uranium and gold and the rest of them, then they are talking about bringing Nigeria, bringing back the ELF, bringing back the total that left us at our time of need. They left. They left because they believe that people have been going to court on degradation of their environment. They are flaying the gas. They are doing a lot of things. Aquatic life is zero in our Niger Delta area. And it was a cause of this environmental impact. And still, they believe that they are going through, very expensive lawsuits, because there are lawsuits to tell them that you cannot degrade people, you cannot subject people, you cannot, leave us without clean water. The aquatic life in the Niger region is zero. And as a result of all these things, our people are now, in fact, I want to tell you that the Northerners are now taking a very big lesson from what happened in Niger Delta. Because as soon as, like he rightly said, the economic situation of siting a base, putting a base in the north where they will be there to monitor. What are they putting their satellite there? Has it helped us? Talking about insecurity, they want to, engage the French intelligence for our insecurity in this country. No. We bought Tokana helicopters to make sure that the Boko Haram, the herdsmen, and the rest of them are cleared. Has it been working?
Fighting insecurity here. I think what I really mean by maybe using Nigeria as a launchpad, I actually mean using Nigeria as a launchpad against Niger and all these Francophone countries that jilted them. Okay, perhaps that's one of the intentions of this latest romance.
The Francophone countries, are they our immediate security threat, or within Nigeria, where we have the herdsmen, where we have the Boko Haram? We only have a frontier border that these people...
No, not Nigeria now, France, using Nigeria as a launchpad to get to Niger.
They cannot get to them. Somebody said, please, I don't want you no more. I have found out you have exploited us for years, for more than 66 years. And if you go to Niger Republic, you cry. If you have been to all those countries, if you go to Burkina Faso, you cry. You go to Mali, you cry. You know what? Development is zero. And these people are picking up now. And they believe in their so-called military juntas. They are now saying that the military juntas are the better option for whatever democratic...
Than the politicians.
Yes, they have gone through all these years. Because they know that those politicians are stooges of the France.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And then we're going to take a break here. When we come back, we're going to look at international politics as it concerns Nigeria. Where do we really stand? Okay. All right, we'll take a break here. We'll talk to some people on the streets. Let's hear them on this particular topic before we continue.
There is no way Nigeria will stand on their own. So that's why we need other foreign country that is well developed for those to queue on with them. So Nigeria is still based from other countries for, let me say, some certain things. Like when we're talking about, we need foreign investments. So we need some certain things that France is producing, because Nigeria is not that economic balanced for them to produce things on our own. So we still need those things. So in terms of those economics important, in terms of health, because we still need some certain things about health sectors. Then when we're talking about business things, we still need foreign investors, we still need the foreign currencies. So that's why the president, so we'll still encourage it, because not only France, he'll be visiting other countries. So with this visit, I think that it will benefit Nigeria in different ways.
The thing here is that it was not specified. His policy was not specified. What is the main business proposal or the main reason why he went to France? If it is to enrich the economy of Nigeria, or positively or negatively or something else. So let's be hopeful. Let's be hopeful that it's a positive business policy he went there for, or he just went there for sightseeing or something. Because now in Nigeria, what we need now is our economy to improve.
The visit of the president to France, listening to the newspapers and then watching the agreement they made, it bothered around mining, which has not yet developed in our country. So I am very, very optimistic that the agreement they had with the mining and the MOU they signed will be of benefit to the country, and it will create a labor and an employment for the teeming youth. But we are all skeptical about the relationship between France and some African countries. We have all seen that some African countries, Burkina Faso, all the Francophone countries that were under France, they have ejected France. And then the military took over because of the way France has been dealing with them. Despite being there for years, they have not impacted to the country economically. So we are all kind of pessimistic and a lot of fears, and we are skeptical of what that alliance will be with Nigeria and France, looking fully well at what they have done to other nations which are African also. But in general, I just have to keep hope alive that the presidency and his team know why they approach France with respect to the mining and the MOU signed. So that is what I think.
If I may say, I really don't think there is much economic benefit for that his visit. If you check, since he was sworn in as the president of Nigeria, he has been from one country to another country. And all this while, the economy of Nigeria has been tripling. So there have never been a change that we witness in our economy, a positive change. We are already having negative changes. So just like other countries, like Senegal, is trying to cut ties with these Francophone countries, like France and other countries that colonized them. But Nigeria is giving more this, so I don't think there is much benefit to me. Rather, we have the key of our problem here. So if he should do what he's supposed to do in Nigeria, the economy will be better.
It's still good morning, Anambra, and I'm still here with Barrister Arukwe and Kanayo Obidibo. Welcome. Yes, I said that when we come back, we're going to look at the international relations of Nigeria, what it looks like now, because after the 2023 election, some analysts have come up with with a lot of issues that is still going to affect Nigeria in the future. One of them is the quality of elections that we have in this country, the way the leaders get into power, which of course was in the public domain, how the shenanigram and everything that happened during the 2023 election. And then the security situation in Nigeria, the spate of insecurity here, and violation of human rights. Okay, that all these have really tarnished the image of this country worldwide. Perhaps that's why some analysts are saying that our international relations is dwindling. It's becoming very low. The way people look at us, the way people want to associate with us because of who we are. Barrister Arukwe, what will you say about this?
You virtually said it all. My job is just to try and color it a little. But you just said it all. You captured it quite well. What is left of us? What is left of our dignity? What is left of our cohesiveness as a nation? What are the qualities that make for sovereignty? Have we not traded off all these? We are diminished in the eyes of our brother African countries, not to talk of other nations of the world where democracy and the rule of law are bastions of their governance. South Africa here, other nations, Cameroon and all that, they don't take us anything as serious. Ghana doesn't look at our direction twice. Ghana looks at us as a big old man that has not started to work. So it's a pity that instead of lobbying for internal reform, instead of lobbying for aggressive reform in all sectors of governance, our electoral system, that is the INEC, judiciary, from the Supreme Court to the lowest court, where judgments that are churned out from these citadels of justice do not look like what the law should be, does not look like it is explainable. Because in law there's this thing they call reason behind a judgment. There's always a reason, and that reason is expandable across the board. It is understandable, it's normative, it's not personal, it's not impersonal. It's something that you can transport that reasoning to another circumstance of the same. You can now see where a situation in a country, somebody who had taken a fourth position is now placed in a first position. Do you kind of connect reasonableness to such a judgment? Or do you kind of believe that such a judgment is explainable? Do you believe there's a reason behind the judgment? So we don't have an electoral system that would transport the aspiration, the choice of the people, to the person, to the leadership, to the type of leadership we desire in the circumstances we have found ourselves. It's a cardinal point. Look at what happened in America. Many people will not like Trump. Many people will not sit on the same table with him. But majority of Americans know that the past government, which Harris was part of, had put America in a wobbly position where America is no longer seen as a giant, a global giant. Mm-hmm. So that was what translated in America. In Nigeria today, it is possible for you to sit down here in the theater of this place, ABS, and win an election in Ogun State. It is about just the BVS or whatever they call it.
We call it democracy magic.
So we understand.
Or miracle.
We understand what happened at Edo, where they said forensically that the election was written by the same person with the same pen. That the handwriting was from the same ballpoint and from the same calligraphic hand of a person. So is it a nation that you take serious? It is not. Because what baffles and connects Nigerians today is not about diplomatic shuttle, endless trip from one country to the other, beggarly, invited, uninvited.
While your house is on fire.
Stopovers in France all the time. Our president has visited France in no less than 10 times in these 18 months past. So this one that is highlighted and gaslighted as the trumping of 21st century, the palatial visit with wives and all that, is not what Nigerians need. We're talking about subsidy. Nigerians want to hear the translation of their life to reality. Our lives have been taken away from us. The schools, the universities, the hospitals are not working. The roads and the infrastructure are not supporting lives here. Hunger threatens prices of good internal resources, prices of goods and medicines are nowhere to be discussed. People are dying there, the droves. People are running away from Nigeria, those who can run away.
Businesses are
businesses are collapsing. Electricity cannot support any genuine enterprise. Is that a country where you want people to come and put their hard-earned dollars? Of course not. Of course not. Who is going to visit Nigeria to invest? Except people who are going to exploit our weaknesses. Just like France is going to come in and exploit the beleaguered mining sector. How they did in Niger, taking away their uranium and pricing it to a dollar a gram. So what we are saying is that these trips produce nothing. These trips are not what we want now. It is not what is needed now. What is needed now is immediate internal reform. Immediate to translate hunger into a living standard that would push everything back to reality.
Okay, having seen all this on ground now, the state of insecurity, the in fact, all the problems that we are experiencing in Nigeria, Kanayo, if you were the president of Nigeria, what will you be doing at a time like now? Is this just traveling and moving from one country to the other? What will you be doing now to ensure that you have a good nation, which people will be proud of? I mean, Nigerians will be proud of, and that people outside will want to deal with?
You see, the aftermath of 2023, the presidential election is still taking a toll in Nigeria. That is why you find this image laundering. Image laundering to go and punish illegality. Illegality, as Chief has just enumerated. Is it our electoral system that is so flawed? Is it our lives that is so bastardized by the so-called subsidy? Subsidy that has not translated into appropriate reality for us to see. You can imagine the minimum wage, which I know IJ it affects you too. That has been a sing-song thing, and some governors who are like the Lord and the Manu are now taking their decisions on who to pay or who not to pay.
And what
so
to pay.
What I'm trying to say is that if I am the president, for instance, we talked about local government autonomy. Has it worked? Have they been able to actually appropriate local government funds to local government councils in this country? For them to be able to start from the grassroots to have that change. Because as soon as the local government chairmen are empowered with the appropriate funds and they start to reflect it within their locality, you will see changes. But the president has refused to look at that. Otherwise, he is trying to usurp even the River State, but the River State man, because of war of two persons, you are punishing the entire River State. Do you know the population of River State? That you are now looking at two persons, two individuals, and you want to punish the entire people. Population of River State is so enormous, and they are the cash cow of this country. When Yar'Adua came in, made a situation on his own. He said, election that they thrown me was actually messed up, but I want to put a reform. He set up committees, and he went to Niger Delta. He looked at Niger Delta. He created the commission. You see, we are talking of creating commissions to do what? To appease certain areas that has felt, marginalized. President Tinubu should do what? Should look into that. He should be able to make sure that the fuel pump price has come down for us to be affordable to the common persons. People are suffering as a result of that. Dangote refinery, he was there. Dangote refinery was being, antagonized by the civil servant. We are having a problem in this country. The civil service in this country has collapsed in the sense that corruption has eaten deep into our civil service and nothing is happening. No consequences. People are appropriating money and we are calling it people are embezzling, they are stealing. These are theft and they are being, kid globe. What is play bargain? I don't know how as a lawyer will tell me about play bargain if it's known to our own law.
I was actually looking at the things you need to do if you were the president of Nigeria to, first of all, launder your image internally, which of course is going to attract some good relationship for you from other countries of the world, especially the civilized clime. Okay, but it does appear we have overstretched it. 1 minute before we go, what will you do to ensure that we'll get to where we used to be, to get our lost glory back?
Yes. The total collapse of our institutions that led to where we are today. The situation that permits a man to own
753 duplexes. Yes, 753.
Yes. Duplexes, housing units,
is
in a space
impossible.
of 150,000 meters square in the federal capital territory.
And the president has not said anything
And
about
such permissiveness that allows one man, if one man could do that, another man could do half of what this man has done, then what it means is that what's going round?
We don't have a nation.
What is going around is a tragedy. So we would have started by institutionalizing a reform, a system of reform that will revitalize confidence, that will bring back glory, bring back believability. Can we believe this man? Can we work with this man? Is he genuine in his effort to reform? Because the other world, the first world, we're looking at America and Europe, they are looking at, is the reform genuine? Immediately they begin to know that the reform intended and going on is genuine.
You don't need to be going to their countries.
They
will come to you.
They will come. Because if we talk about subsidy, that subsidy will be removed, and that we have made 20 trillion gain, where is the money? And then you have borrowed from China and other World Bank facilities, you have borrowed and shut off. Where is the effect of this borrowing? Is it in buying SUVs, living in 22nd century luxury, flying new jets, buying new jets, where people are dying?
God is God, though.
Is this is this our priority?
Okay, gentlemen.
Should it have been our priority?
Okay, gentlemen, thank you. I'd like to thank you very much for joining me this morning. It's been a very worthwhile discussion with you guys. Kanayo Ubidibo, thank you very much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, it's always a delight. And then Barrister Krista Arukwe, I'd like to thank you also for coming.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Yes, this is where we're drawing the curtain this morning on this edition of our discussion. Good morning, Anambra. Today, sports will come after now, and then we continue with other programs that we have lined up for your viewing pleasure today. My name is Sichama. Do have a good day.